Folks, I'm exhausted. I will be so real. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I did not have a good weekend. Um, and this week in general has just been awful. I mean, what a way to start the year, right? Where the government has, I mean, look, the rule of law for politicians has always been like theorized, right? Do politicians have to follow the law? If they are in the ruling party, do they need to follow the law? Traditionally, the answer's been yes, because future administrations can come in, future politicians from the other party can come in, and they can then prosecute you for committing heinous crimes. In the aftermath of the first Trump administration, there were, there was an impeachment. There was the Jack Smith case that took way too long and ultimately collapsed, where they tried to prosecute him for, insurrection and the classified documents and all this stuff. So in theory, the rule of law applies to politicians, in theory. Granted, it fell flat on its face. They had 4 entire fucking years to prosecute all these people, and they dropped the ball. Especially, I like to give a really special fuck you to Fani Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County. A real special fuck you to Fani Willis for dropping the ball on that big ass case that they made such a spectacle about. What a classic move is that an Atlanta politician completely fucks the bag when we need it most. How typical. Just an age-old classic story of some dumb fucker in Atlanta getting their hands on power, promising all this shit, and then they fuck it all. What an age-old classic. A penguin classic, if you will. So in theory, the rule of law should apply to everyone in the government. And it is very obvious to me that the way that the Republicans, and especially Donald Trump, have been operating just in the last month alone. I mean, you can consider the whole past year as well, but just in the last month alone, not even a full month, in the last 2.5 weeks, not even, the way that they have been moving, the way they've been operating the government right now, is that they don't think there will ever be another election ever again. And if there is one, they don't think the Democrats will be able to seize power. They are operating like they have absolute immunity. In the words of J.D. Vance, he claims that we have absolute immunity. Sorry, not we. Trump in the White House has absolute immunity. ICE has absolute immunity to do whatever they want. And so, in the response from the Dems, lackluster, disappointing at best. Irresponsible, worthless, fucking garbage at worst. All right, let's get to the first part of what, stuff Trump is just absolutely meddling in. Because this is the problem with all the news stories this week, is that he has his dirty little, grubby little fingers all over everything. And I mean everything. He's got them all over all this stuff. There are protests going on right now in Iran against the Iranian government. Now, have your opinions about the Iranian government. Personally, I'm not a fan. And you know, the protests, they're protesting for their freedoms to be lifted, you know, so they actually have the right to do shit in Iran. You know, I'm obviously not a big fan of Iran. However, I'm an American and not an Iranian. So really, it's none of my goddamn business. But Donald Trump doesn't think so. And Donald Trump has been saying all week that he's considering lethal force in Iran. For what? Why? Why are we even getting involved with Iran? Iran says it'll strike us back if we make a move like that. We've been evacuating people from like embassies and shit like that. Why are we doing that? Why are we trying to start a war with Iran? Because what? Their government's being protested by the people? You know, Iran's government has killed over 500 protesters from the last official numbers I saw. I've seen some reports say over 12,000. I don't know how valid those are, but I've seen at least over 500 have been killed, which is disgusting. I mean, 500 alone is disgusting for a government to do that. If it's over 12,000, that's insane. But like I said, the U.S. doesn't need to be getting involved in that. Why are we involving ourselves with so many of the world's affairs? Why is the peace president involving us in so many of the world's affairs? You know? Why are we doing that? Why are we getting so involved? I know why we attacked Venezuela, but why do we keep getting involved in all this other shit? You know, like why are we saying that we're gonna put an end to the Iranian government? Let the protesters figure that shit out. Why are we doing that? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And then now we're also saying we're going to take out the cartels in Mexico by putting boots on the ground. Or doing land strikes, I think is what he said. Doing strikes on the land itself. And why?
And we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But the cartels are running, and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying, too, with drugs.
What business do we have to go into Mexico and just start blowing shit up? What business do we have? Here's a Jedediah Vance. Here's giant fucking idiot Vance going in front of the press and saying this horrifically fascist shit.
Technicality than any disagreement in policy. If you look at the people who actually voted, every single one of them have supported the administration's plan. Second of all, as the president, I believe himself has already said, every president, Democrat or Republican, believes the War Powers Act is fundamentally a fake and unconstitutional law. It's not going to change anything about how we conduct foreign policy over.
So if you're wondering, the War Powers Act is not unconstitutional. It is an act that is passed, has never been overruled, and all it is just an act that reiterates, re-solidifies what the Constitution says about the separation of powers in regards to declaring war. The War Powers Act is supposed to plug those loopholes so the executive branch can't just start blowing shit up around the world with no declaration of war. Basically, let's say we wanted to go to war with... I'm just going to pick any place for no reason. Let's say that we wanted to go to war with Greenland. We can't just start launching strikes on Greenland. That's not a thing. That's not how that works. Congress is supposed to step in and say, no, you can't do that because we haven't declared war. And if you start launching strikes at Greenland, you're inadvertently starting a war with Denmark. You would basically be instigating. It'd be like poking the bear until it wakes up and starts attacking you, instead of having congressional approval to just kill the bear. And so that's what the War Powers Act is supposed to clarify, is that without a declaration of war from Congress, the executive branch can't just start blowing shit up. They have to consult with Congress first. There are very special circumstances where the executive branch can do that. And usually those special circumstances come with a seal of approval from Congress. So, yeah, the White House doesn't like that bill because it means they still need cooperation from Congress. That's like been the biggest thing for this government, is that they need the cooperation of Congress. And they have tried every which way to step around that. Even though they have a Republican majority, they could attempt to play ball with the Republican majorities. And yet they don't. They just completely bypass them and do whatever the fuck they want. So insanely fascist of J.D. Vance to say, to say the War Powers Act is fundamentally a fake and unconstitutional law. Sorry if I seem tired. This is my second time recording this.
Let me ask you about Maria.
All right. Here's that opposition leader offering him her Nobel Peace Prize.
Corina Machado. I've had her on TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
When she accepted that Peace Prize, she dedicated it to you. She said to me this week, both on TV and radio, that she wants to give the Nobel Prize, her Nobel Peace Prize, to you for liberating her country. In 2023, she won over 92% of the vote to be the leader of the opposition. Maduro kept her off the ballot. Do you have any plans to meet with her? And would you accept the...
Sean Hannity's such a state media bitch. I'm sorry, I gotta be honest about it. Sean Hannity, I mean, he always has been, but my God, what a dick-sucking, just state media bitch. A complete and total bitch. Oh, please, Mr. Trump. How do you feel about her giving you her Nobel Peace Prize? Ooh. It's also like very obvious that he pretty much only did all this Venezuela shit for the Peace Prize. That's what it seems like. That he only did all this so he could get our Nobel Peace Prize. You know? Which is so funny. Getting a Nobel Prize for invading another country and kidnapping their president. Good Lord.
Nobel Prize she wants to hand to you.
Well, I understand she's coming in next week sometime. And I look forward to saying hello to her. And I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. Mm-hmm. I did put out 8 wars. 8 and a quarter, because, Thailand and Cambodia started going at it again. So
I'll put the list
I
up
give
if
a
you
quarter,
want.
so it's
Yeah.
you put the list out. It's a hell of a list.
8 wars? I feel like the only war that, Trump has like maybe some semblance of a credit for dispersing is maybe the India-Pakistan war from last year. That might be like the only time you can legitimately say that Trump has stopped a war during this presidency. Because the war in Ukraine is still going, so he hasn't ended that one. I already know he probably counts that shit as one of them. The war in Ukraine is still going. And the genocide of the Palestinians in Gaza is still going too. You know, Israel is still attacking Gaza. So that ceasefire didn't mean shit. You know, I don't know what other wars he's referring to exactly. Oh man. Let's see. Oil executives are saying that they don't even want to go into Venezuela now because it's unstable. The environment there is just too unstable for them. Here's Congress tying on whether to allow the president to continue military action in Venezuela. I want you to take your guess, folks. Let's play a little game here. It's take a guess as to which side of this tie. Oh, I forgot how to use a shirt, apparently. Which side of this tie do you think J.D. Vance lands on? Which side of this tie-breaking vote do you think J.D. Vance is going to land on here? I'll give you a second to take your vote. Go on your betting apps, Polymarket, whatever you fucking use. And I want you to take your vote now. What side of this 50-50 vote do you think J.D. Vance will take a side on? Jesus. Vice President of the United States, President of the Senate, J.D. Vance, which side of the... Good Lord, Des, can you stop shaking? Which side of this tie-breaking vote will he take? Will he take the side of stopping military action in Venezuela or continuing? Take your votes.
Okay. On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50, the Senate being equally divided. The Vice President votes.
Oh, and he has to take a second. Oh! The anticipation! Oh! What's he gonna choose? Oh my God! What's he gonna choose? Jesus, what a face. Like he's appalled at the bill. Take some screenshots of that.
Affirmative, and the point of order is sustained.
Dude, why did it take him so long to decide that? Why did it take him so long to say yes to that? He knew what did he not know what the bill was? Or is it just that he didn't expect it to tie like that? Just so bizarre. How like long it takes him to say yes to that. Speaking of Senate votes, did you guys know that the House voted to end minimum wage for training sessions at work, and to also end overtime on training sessions? And the House by a slim majority voted, no, we're not ending that. And thus the Republican leadership canceled the remaining anti-labor votes for the day. Did you know that? Interesting. I wonder if the Republican Party is pro-labor or not. Weird. Anywho, let's move on to the other foreign policy matter that Donald Trump wants to enact with the United States. Heavily involved in the world's affairs, as usual. And that would be us wanting to buy Greenland. Or invade it. The Republicans in Congress are not super thrilled about this. Here's the here's the foreign minister of Denmark and the minister of foreign affairs of Greenland smoking after their meeting with Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance. Yeah, that meeting must have not gone very well. Oof. You got to go take like a stress smoke afterwards. That meeting must have not gone very well. Yikes, man. I saw like one of those TV interviews where this Greenland citizen was like, you know, worst case scenario, I become American. Me too, girl. Me too. The worst case scenario and everyone's worst nightmare in Greenland is becoming an American because you lose your access to free healthcare. And now you're stuck with like zero representation in Congress, can't vote. I mean, you get freedom of entering the United States all you want, but that's about it. You can ask Puerto Rico how it feels. Dude, oh my God, if we grant statehood to Greenland before we give it to Puerto Rico, oh, that would be so fucked. That would be so fucked. They'd be like, oh, they're all white. What? That would be insane if we granted Greenland statehood before Puerto Rico. Good Lord. 51st state Greenland. Like, come on. And, you know, the best part is that while that joke is funny, they still wouldn't do it because Greenland would probably vote overwhelmingly Democrat. You know, there'd probably be some parts of Greenland that would vote Republican, but Greenland overall would be Democrat. I mean, the Europeans are, and I do consider Greenlanders Europeans by nature because of Denmark, but like the European mind can't comprehend anything more to the right of the Democrats. Because the Democrats are already like slightly right-wing centrists. And so they would probably be like, we're going to reluctantly vote for the Democrats, but if y'all ever make a slightly farther left party, we'll vote for that one. That's probably how they would do it. Oh, wow, this guy's name. Republican Congressman Don Bacon. What the fuck? Says a U.S. invasion of Greenland could lead to Trump's impeachment with support from many Republicans. I'll be candid with you. There's so many Republicans mad about this. If he went through with the threats, I think it would be the end of his presidency. Where are the Democrats during all of this? Have you noticed that whenever I talk about stuff like this, when it comes to Donald Trump, I bring up the Democrats? Now you might think, oh, typical leftist hating on the Democrats. But let me key you in on something. When Biden was president, all I talked about were the Democrats. And it's because the Democrats' worst quality is standing in their own constituents' way. Their constituencies are far more radical, far more left-wing than the Democratic Party elected officials are. For instance, I watched a guy in Minneapolis go on the news and say, look, I've marched in many peaceful marches and I'm a Democrat, and, you know, honestly, fuck the midterms. I don't see a world where we have midterms. I'm coming to these protests armed from now on. That's your average Democratic voter. That is what the average Democratic voter thinks. And the Democratic Party shits in its own way every time. And so when the Republicans are, you know, blowing their way through the fucking government with no regard, I mean, fuck, dude. On day one, Trump was doing stuff that would have had Obama strung up by the neck in front of fucking Congress. I mean, come on. They would have, like, hung Biden and Obama for treason for the type of shit Trump was pulling on day one. I mean, come on. So, you know, when the Republicans are moving with such a swiftness, the Democratic Party, silent. Just completely silent. They're gonna start to finally pipe up, for the midterms that are coming this November, if they even still show up. I'm still going to write my article about them because I am writing an article about the midterms. They're still going to try to campaign for the midterms. But when it comes time for that general, oh my God, they're going to fucking bomb it. I do not have any faith in them winning the presidency in 3 years. I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. They won that this prior election that just happened in November. They only won that because they had momentum from the government shutdown and the unpopularity of Donald Trump. That is why. They keep fumbling into small victories. Midterms are going to roll around. They're going to gain some seats in Congress. And then they're just going to be like, oh, I guess we'll sit on our ass for the next 2 years. And they're going to fumble the fucking presidential election if there even is one. It's so frustrating. Them being like, people being like, leftists only like to criticize the Dems, not the Republicans. I am criticizing the Republicans, but I need the Dems in power to do something about it. I'm powerless. I'm just some guy talking into a microphone. You should demand. My senators are Democrats. I have every fucking right to demand that my senators do something about this. What the fuck has John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock said so far? Next to nothing. Shit, John Ossoff almost ended the government shutdown. He was almost a part of that vote. And he's up for re-election this year. We're about to have a purple state. The way he's moving. The way these Democrats in Congress are moving, they're basically not there. And I'm saying all this because of the stuff I'm going to talk about later. Dude, the Republican Party's coming out and saying they might impeach Trump. Members of the Republican Party are saying that. Where are the Democrats? Where are the Democrats in all of this? Where's their rhetoric? We'll get to that. We'll get to more of that later. The last thing I have to say about Greenland is the White House posting, "Which way, Greenland man?" with this picture. Bit of a weird photo. Here's somebody increasing the amount of dogs. Oh, what did it do? Oh, it changed the flag. What the fuck? Weird. But when they posted that caption, "Which way, Greenland man?" This is a reference to a book titled "Which Way, Western Man?" This was written by a prominent white supremacist and member of a neo-Nazi group called National Alliance. And he wrote a book called "Which Way, Western Man" in 1978. And this is what the book claims. It claims there is a Jewish plot against white people, calls for violence against Jews, says that Adolf Hitler was right, and yeah. So there you go. The White House openly quoting white supremacists. It's just Stephen Miller. It's just Stephen Miller. This is why they don't want you to be educated in this country, because then you would notice that shit. You know? It's pretty much just Stephen Miller running that account. That rabid fucking Nazi. I was going to call him a neo-Nazi, but he's just a Nazi, bro. He's just a Nazi. You know, flat out. Oh, take a breather, folks. All right. Talk about the biggest story of the last couple weeks. I talked about it last week in Minneapolis, Minnesota. ICE shot and killed Renee Good, and specifically a man named Jonathan Ross. But it's the entire institution of ICE that is responsible for this. This whole organization breeds that kind of behavior. It literally corrals people together who encourage and support and commit that kind of behavior. So yes, while it is Jonathan Ross, it's not just Jonathan Ross. It's the entire organization. It's all of ICE, which is why I think ICE should be abolished. You know, ICE shouldn't be a paramilitary law enforcement group that patrols the streets of America and, you know, wrangles people up based on race. You know, fuck Brett Kavanaugh for that, by the way. There should be no paramilitary group led by the White House, led by the Department of Homeland Security, that goes door to door like the Nazis did and wrangles people up based on their race like the Nazis did. There shouldn't be something like that, which is why ICE should be abolished. This is an opinion that apparently the mayor of Minneapolis doesn't share. Jacob Frey said, "I do not support abolishing ICE," after telling agents to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. What a bunch of shit. What a bunch of shit. He's gonna talk that big game. He's gonna say, "Get the fuck out of Minneapolis." He's gonna talk this big game about ICE, and he's gonna back off immediately. His police chief is going to come up and be like, "Oh, if you're going to protest, do it legally. If you're going to exercise your freedom of speech, exercise your rights legally." And there's a whole reason why they tried to primary him with a more left-wing candidate, Omar Fateh. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. That guy would have been honestly preferable to Jacob Frey, obviously. I mean, what the fuck? What the hell? And he's not the only one. He's not the only Democrat. Chuck Schumer's response to this was like nothing, man. His response to this was like so lackluster. It was so pathetic. And he basically like he basically like almost blames the people. He blames everyone but ICE in his responses. Here's Border Patrol officers showing up to a high school in Minneapolis, where they're tackling and arresting kids. Oh, sorry, not kids. Parents and teachers. This is the same city where they murdered George Floyd, by the way, where the Minneapolis Police Department murdered George Floyd. Here's Ron DeSantis. I almost called him Rob. Here's Ron DeSantis saying that you can just run protesters over.
Also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's...
Dave Rubin jump scare. Ooh. Ugh. Dave Rubin jump scare. Ugh. I'm so sorry. Ugh. Ew.
Their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
You know that part in the Bible where Jesus says, commit mass murder if people are inconveniencing you while protesting their government? You remember that part in the Bible? What part of the Bible was that? Let's see. Surely it had to have been in the Bible, right? I mean, Hmm. Sorry, I'm just trying to get into the mindset of a conservative Republican Christian. And how they, in their mind, how they justify mowing down and murdering protesters. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why. The verse is just not coming to my mind. I don't know why. I have some videos of like ICE agents just absolutely, not mowing down protesters, but I'll just let the video speak for itself. But I was not expecting this level of aggression when I was watching this. I really wasn't. I mean, what the fuck? This guy's just standing there in front of them, and look at what he does. Like, damn. And they keep pushing him.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
And then this part's pretty nuts too, where they just spray this guy in the face. Like, look at that. He just walks up and they spray him in the face. I mean, I've seen protests where it gets pretty violent, but the fact that they're just peacefully standing there and that's enough for ICE to just start like shoving people to the ground, spraying them directly in the face point blank. Here's sorry, I'm reading idiots in the comments of this one video. Here's apparently a news story where ICE threw tear gas into a car that had a black family inside, and a 6-month-old baby was in there too. And the baby stopped breathing. Wow. Wow, look at that. I mean, what the fuck? Why are we tolerating this? Why are we putting up with this kind of fascist behavior from the administration?
Behind because they got the ICE agent vehicles that were parked on the street in the shooting. They had to leave their cars behind because they got surrounded by protesters. One of the ICE agent vehicles got broken into, and I found this paperwork. It has a list with FBI operation info. It's got full names of FBI agents, phone numbers, emails. There's maps on where they're staying, where they're holding immigrants. There's hotel names in there. There's judge names. This paperwork has people's full names and their emails. Operational posture. This is how they're supposed to stand and how they're supposed to handle protesters. This is the transport of immigration targets. This is a map showing you where they're taking immigration targets and instructions on how to get into the building, on what they're supposed to do on booking.
That has to be probably the craziest, most damaging part to leave behind in an ICE vehicle. Holy shit, that just compromises the whole damn facility, bro. That's crazy. Oh my god. Dude, that's insane.
I have a piece of paper. It's the ICE agent.
Talk about being at war with the government. Oh my god. We're at war, man. People being like, oh, that's illegal to share that kind of information. They found it, bro. There's freedom of the press. Freedom of the press. I don't know what to tell you. And at this point, honestly, it's war with the U.S. federal government. It is. The federal government has started waging war against the citizens of the United States. And if you think he's not going to come for you, you're wrong. You know, just you wait. There's going to be some podunk town in the middle of fucking Georgia. They're just going to start ripping white people out of their homes. Those white people are going to be like, but Mr. President, I voted for you. He's going to be like, he's not going to say anything because he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. In response to all this, Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul have filed lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem, some guy named John Condom. Sorry, immature. Yeah, they've filed a giant lawsuit. Even Bovino's in that lawsuit. I'm kind of surprised I don't see Homan in this. The border czar. Am I just missing his name? Is the border czar not in this? Weird. I'm kind of surprised that the border czar is not in there. But yeah, so they've launched a lawsuit, probably to quell the fact that Minnesotan citizens have started threatening to kill and maim ICE agents. That's probably why they did this, to prevent like a massacre. Because it seems that the president wants to use all of this as a way to justify martial law. Here's a district attorney in Philadelphia doing what the rest of the Democratic Party should do, which is tell these ICE agents that they will be going to jail, to prison.
Let me be clear. If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do...
Here's the big difference between him and Frey. One, he's the DA, so this hits a little harder. He's literally cop boss. You know, he's the big honcho cop. Whoa, that was weird. That must have been the focus. Literally looked like somebody walked up right next to me. That's gross. He's like big cop boss, you know. But, you know, Frey does the big, like, get the fuck. Like the most unnatural F-bomb of your life. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis. Here's this guy. You don't even have to do that. You don't even have to say the F word. Get the F out of here. You know why he doesn't have to say the F word? Because then he follows it up with an actual meaningful statement.
Do that here, I will charge you with those crimes.
There you go.
You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military?
Boom. Let's go. Put their asses in jail. Yes. That's how you're supposed to respond. So take notes, Democrats. Oh my God, my throat keeps giving out. Take notes, Democrats. That's how you actually respond to an ICE invasion in your city. There was a new poll that came out about Renee Good's murder that 53% of Americans say that the murder was unjustified. Only 23% say it was. And of that 23%, of that measly little minority number, 63% self-identified as a Republican willingly. How awesome is it that the majority of Americans actually see right from wrong for once? Truly, I don't think this country is truly 50-50 split, like a lot of people say. I think most people are liberal in this country. I think it's the way that the system is set up to disenfranchise who would otherwise be more progressive voters, more liberal voters. So, we need to start, and I say we, I've been on this. Liberals and centrists need to get it together. We are staring down the barrel of the Nazi gun. I mean, we are in the early stages of Nazi Germany. We've been in the early stages of Nazi Germany, but the Nazis have taken power now fully, and we're in like the beginnings of what led to World War II and the final solution. Get it together, liberals. Get it together. We need to stop waiting to care about shit until it happens to white people. We need to stop doing that. I keep saying we, but y'all need to quit doing that shit. Y'all got to start speaking up about this stuff before it ends up killing a white woman. Because by the time they've killed a white woman, they've already left a long trail of people of color in the wake. They've already walked the long, bloody trail to get to her. Keith Porter was shot by an off-duty ICE agent in LA. But because he wasn't the perfect victim and because he was a black man, no one talked about it. Nobody talked about it. And then a week and a half later, Renee Good is shot. Now the whole damn fucking world is talking about it. We need to start speaking up about this when it happens to anyone. Because if you speak out about it now, it lessens the chances that more shit like this will happen later. We speak up about Keith Porter then, Renee Good never dies. Or at least the chances of her being shot are much lower. If y'all had started speaking up, you know, almost a year ago when we were all talking about this, someone like Keith Porter would probably still be alive too. So you can't keep waiting until it happens to a white person to say something about it. You got to start it way before that because it'll save a lot of lives later. Because of all this quote unquote civil unrest in Minnesota, basically people being like, hey, we're not chill with federal law enforcement, the third largest fucking military on the planet, coming into Minneapolis and shooting people. Because people are openly saying they're not down with that. They're not chill, nonchalant down with that kind of behavior. Trump is suggesting, why even need an election this year? He says he wants to invoke the Insurrection Act and use it on Minnesota. He said on Truth Social, I need a sip of water before I go into this. Oh, God, I hate being sick. If the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to this travesty that is taking place in that one great state. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, he would basically do this so he could declare martial law. And then he even cancel the election. He even went to Reuters and said that he would want to suspend. He basically said we shouldn't even have an election, is what he said. He said it has been a trend that presidents always lose the midterms, their first midterms in office. And he said, we've been doing so well, we shouldn't even have an election. All this coming off the backs of him wanting to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. He's also saying he's wanting to threaten to denaturalize U.S. citizens if they, quote, deserve it. So we're there, folks. We are there. Officially, we're there. We're at the dictator point. He's threatening to not hold elections, which I don't even think is up to him, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's up to the states to do that type of shit. But I'm sure he could finagle his way. I'm sure he could convince the Senate to not certify the elections or something in the future. I'm sure he could do a bunch of shit to stop him from being booted from office. To stop his Republican, counterparts to be booted from the Senate and from the House. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I am now kind of 50-50 split on whether or not we'll actually have a midterm election. Yeah. Oh my God, how much unironically better it would have been to be born in the late 60s and be in my retirement years almost by this point. Oh, what a good time that would have been. But no, I had to have been born right after 9/11, so gotta love that. All right, here's people calling Austin Ayers, who is a congressional candidate in North Carolina. He said, "This is Democrats calling my office." He's clearly upset, right? But I think this is pretty fucking funny.
Hey, Austin, your social media post about you being happy they domed that woman and calling other people retards isn't very professional. How about you go ahead and dome yourself? Find an ICE agent, put the gun in your mouth, and pull the trigger, and make the world a better place. And what's funny is you'll be able to shoot yourself in the head and your neck and your fucking shoulder at the same time because you don't have a neck. You look like an inbred subhuman piece of garbage, and you just need to kill yourself. Have a good one.
Wow. Based.
Hello, this is Cam Keebler, 919-538-0149. I'd like to ask Mr. Ayers a question.
Damn, he dropped the whole fucking phone number and everything.
Why are you calling North Carolina residents retards? Seems a pretty poor tact for someone trying to run and represent the people, you piece of shit. Go fuck yourself.
True.
Hi, Austin. My name is Phil Williams. I'm calling because you're a fucking moron. It is disgusting seeing you taking joy in celebrating the murder of a U.S. citizen.
I'm not a fan of him doxing all these phone numbers, by the way. You're running for public office. Here's another part of the Bible. Famously, Jesus did not say, turn the other cheek. He said, dox your enemies and then cry and bitch about it on Twitter. Famously, that's what he said. He definitely didn't say turn the other cheek. But you know what? I'm glad he didn't turn the other cheek because now we get to listen to these funny-ass phone calls.
By ICE agents. Even if, she had tried to assault an ICE officer, which the video shows she doesn't, and I don't care what your AI-generated bullshit you share on social media says. It's bullshit. But celebrating the death of a mother, you are disgusting. Right? I bet you call yourself a Christian. You're not. You're a piece of shit. I hope you rot.
Boom! What I was just saying. Yes! It's exactly my point. He's not a Christian. All these people like to LARP as Christians. As someone who used to actually be a practicing Christian, who's actually read the fucking Bible, I've actually read the Bible. Big shocker. You know, I've studied a lot of theology. And I know the values that Christians are supposed to uphold in their everyday lives. And none of these guys practice it. To protest your government is way more like Jesus than whatever the fuck these people are doing. Like crying and bitching on Twitter that they're getting hate calls because they celebrated somebody being murdered by the state. Think about that. They claim to be Christian, a religion formed around a man murdered by the state for his beliefs. Yeah, they're celebrating somebody being murdered by the state. And now they're crying on Twitter about the backlash that they're getting for it. How awesome is that?
Oh, you fat fuck. Grow a fucking neck while you're at it.
Everybody in his neck, bro. Is his neck really that big? Hold on. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that's rough, man. That's so rough. Oof, yeah. Oh, he does look stupid, huh? Oh, wow. Brush your teeth, bro. Got them jacked up teeth. Ooh.
Dude, what's wrong with you? Why are you posting AI images on, like, fucking Facebook and shit and calling constituents retards? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I hope nothing but the worst for you. Nothing but the worst. You're an idiot and an asshole.
Did he do that? Did he really go on Facebook and call his constituents R-worded? Did he actually say that? Oh, he's calling his whole stunt with look at that. He's saying his whole stint about saying that her murder was good was a experiment. You're a baby dick loser. Dude, they're clowning on this guy's ass. There's no way this dude's actually gonna no way this guy's actually gonna like win anything, right? Federal agents want to charge Renee Good's widow? What? Bro, what? He's posting shit like this on Facebook? Oh my God. I'm so sorry. A guy that looks like this. Okay. I said to a coworker this morning, I said, why is it the most... Let me back this up. There was some Signal group chat thing that leaked out of New Hampshire where this like super white lady was basically showing support for wanting to resegregate schools. And I said, why is it always the most boring, bland, busted ass, old ass white people that were born right after the Civil Rights Act passed? Why is it always people that look like that want to bring back a time where they segregate themselves off from all of the culture, from all of the interesting people, the people that actually have like personality, have actual, you know, character depth to them? Think about it. This white lady's entire life has probably just consisted of doing like the bare minimum cookie cutter white person shit that you do to get to the position that she's in. She's like a some kind of representative in New Hampshire for like schooling and shit like that. She has had the most boring, most bland, most unseasoned life of any human being. She goes and, you know, in the most crusty way possible, gets up, gets on her phone and goes, yeah, I just think they should have their own schools, and I just think I shouldn't have to see them no more. Girl, no one wants to see you. What? It's always the nastiest looking white people that want to do that type of shit. And this guy is a prime example of just the most like unkempt, look, busted ass haircut, no fucking neck, busted ass teeth, just absolute shitbag. I mean, this dude literally looks like an inflated garbage bag full of diarrhea. And he's over here running for North Carolina's 3rd Congressional District. Like, give me a break. He has the gall to say that racist ass shit on the timeline to, you know, celebrate the death of somebody whose last words, by the way, were, I'm not mad at you. And after that ICE agent shot her, he proceeded to say, fucking bitch. And that dude's over here like, yeah, that's right. You're living out my fantasies. Ooh, that's what he's doing. You're living out my fantasies. Yeah, this guy is a completely disgusting shitbag. All of those Nazis look like such fucking losers. They're just the dregs of society. The biggest fucking morons of society. I can't believe this guy has the gall to call his constituents R-worded. This guy is saying that? This guy. I have to like really contort my body to even have a neck that big. And I have body fat on my face. But I have to like really contort myself to even make my neck look that big. That's crazy. It literally is like a smooth transition. Not to mog on him. But it's literally a smooth transition from his like face into his neck. Here, it's literally this. There is no like behind the jaw. There is no hiding. If you can't do this, that's this guy. Ugh. God. I mean, seriously, look. Someone fucked his shit up at the barber. They gave him a fade. They left the shit on top looking like ass. He doesn't take care of it. It doesn't look like he's like washed his hair in a while based on that glisten. Ugh. He didn't bother to shave his face properly with an actual razor. Yeah, he just looks unkempt. He didn't even brush his teeth that morning for the photo. Just absolute disgusting fuck. And he deserves all these phone calls. He really does. You can't say shit like that about someone who did nothing wrong and expect not to get responses. Yeah. Wow. Ew. Dude. What a piece of shit. Oh, no way. Is that actually him? Wait, oh my God. No way. No way. Oh my God. Did he actually? Somebody posted this like mugshot of him. Look at this. Is that really him? No way. That looks nothing like him. That's a crazy transition. No way. Someone posted this article in the replies. A Butler County man is accused of convincing a teenage boy to fire a BB gun into a Jefferson Township home. Oh my God, he solicited him. Austin Ayers, 19, is now facing several charges, including a felony charge of conspiracy to commit the crimes and reckless endangerment. According to state police, Ayers gave the gun to a 17-year-old boy and instructed him to shoot at a house. Oh my God, the teen did it, shooting the house that had 4 people inside, including 2 young children. No one was hurt. On Saturday, police went to Ayers' house and arrested him. He also was found with a taser, which is illegal in Pennsylvania, and is now facing additional charges. Wait. Pennsylvania? Bro, what's he doing in Pennsylvania? Why is he running for a congressional district in North Carolina? What? Oh, man. I know a buffet hate to see this guy coming.
Hi, I just, again, wanted to say that you're a no-neck, mayonnaise-looking piece of shit. You're just a piece of shit. You're an actual piece of shit. I hope you die.
Oh. Wow.
Hello, Austin. I'm a constituent, and I just wanted to let it known that I think you are absolute scum of the earth for what you're saying in regards to the woman that was murdered in Minneapolis. I've seen your Facebook posts. They're going very viral. You're an evil man, and you do not deserve to hold any public office in the amazing state of North Carolina. You should be deeply ashamed of yourself, and go fuck yourself as well.
Hey, Austin, you're a retard.
Straight to the fucking point. What the fuck? Oh my God, man. Wow.
Hey, Austin. Just wondering what kind of libertarian gets his shriveled little dick hard when they see cops murder people. You actual faggot. You sound like a bitch.
Okay. Oh my God, dude. Okay, is this dark woke? Is this what I've been hearing about? This dark woke type of deal? Where they're like, use the stones to destroy the stones type of shit. You know what I mean? They're like, well, I mean, if he's already doing it, let's just call him slurs, you know? Damn, dude. All right.
Hello there, Austin. I'm a constituent within your district. I'm a registered Republican voter, I might add. I voted for Trump in both of these elections, and I am deeply, deeply bothered by your comments on Facebook. And I am ashamed to call myself a Republican alongside you and this madman running our country. You and him and his entire MAGA cult are evil and should be ashamed to call yourselves Americans and fellow Republicans.
Hey, you fucking pussy. You put on Facebook a picture of an AI-generated article of fucking Renee Nicole Good running over that man when she did no such thing, you piece of shit scum. Go to fucking hell.
Nice.
How does it feel being a little cultist piggy, huh? Big old fatty. You should go to hell. Fuck yourself.
Dude, I love these people. People are awesome. I want to know what the guy from Georgia said. Dude, these people are awesome, man. Oh my God. What a guy. Someone texted all the numbers and said like, yo, you nailed this. Yo, doing the Lord's work. I appreciate you. Yeah, you're a complete piece of fucking shit for doxing all these people's phone numbers. Immature piece of garbage. I want to know more about this guy. I'm assuming he's just one of those like fat chuds that is like, well, I want to do racism, but on, you know, on a big scale. I bet you he's one of those guys. There's a primary in North Carolina's 3rd Congressional District on March 3rd. So go annihilate him. Let's see. Let's read his website. Good Lord Almighty, man. Shit hurts. It hurts. Oh. Oh my God. Every time his face pops up, I just I want to see what his experience is. A new challenger approaches. Oh my God. Austin was a 3rd-generation firefighter for 13 years before joining the COVID-19 workforce as a patient care technician. Afterward, he took up journalism, having already been in business himself along the way in multiple industries. Oh my God. I think they had like a 3rd grader write this. Self-made entrepreneur. To bring the same skill set. Oh God. No political attachments. The people deserve a congressman with an open mind, clean hands, and ability to act on their constituents' interests. Oh, never mind. He had ChatGPT write all this shit up for him. There's an M-dash in here, man. I want to see his policy positions. I don't care about the fucking... He's clearly not a good guy. You know? Clearly. Cool. He's a Second Amendment advocate. He sucks off the veterans, even though the Republican Party routinely treats veterans like garbage. What? Our coastal residents are entitled to the same insurance benefits as our inland resident? Oh. That might be like the only somewhat decent thing he has on his whole platform. Give me his issues. Dude, this campaign website sucks. He has one page for the Second Amendment. And that's it. Holy crap, his website doesn't even work. Oh my God. I can contact him though. Events. He has none. Wow, this guy sucks. Wow. This dude actually sucks. I can't find out anything about him. I guess I can look at his Facebook page and see all the horseshit he's been posting. Oh. Wow, look at this guy. He ain't winning nothing, dog. Oh, he's the libertarian candidate. Okay. Well, you know what? There's no chance of him winning, so. We're in the clear. We are in the clear. Yeah, he's not even in consideration, bro. He's not even in the consideration. Currently the candidate for the Republican Party seems to be Gregory Murphy, the incumbent. He's a Republican. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this guy ain't winning shit, dog. Be real. It looks like they've kind of wiped his... Oh my God, yeah, they scrubbed his Facebook page after his PR disaster. They totally scrubbed his page. Wow. Damn, okay. I had a few other things on here. Jerome Powell, who's
Friday.
the FCC, not the FCC, the Federal Reserve Chair. Sorry. He's the Federal Reserve Chair. And, he's the one controlling all the interest rates in the U.S. government. So basically, he holds the most economic power in the entire world. Pretty big job. And the U.S. government has been wanting to remove him for a while now because he isn't just following the demands of the president. And so they indicted him.
Good evening. On Friday, the Department
So
of
brace
Justice
your ears. This guy has a wet-ass mouth.
served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned, in part, a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public. Rather,
You get the point. They're retaliating against him for actually, not doing everything the president tells him to do. And so there are talks about removing him as the chair. Now, he will still probably be on the board. There's still a board of multiple people that determine these interest rates. He isn't the guy that just makes all the decisions himself. In a way, he maybe could have a lot of influence on those decisions, but he's just the leader of the Federal Reserve. There's still a whole board of people that make all these decisions. So if they remove him as the chair, he'll still probably be on the board. But Trump is talking about appointing a BlackRock executive as the new chair of the Federal Reserve. A BlackRock executive. Guys. Come on. BlackRock, you're never going to own a home ever again at this rate. And folks, that is all. It's been quite a week. Quite a first 15 days of the year. So yeah. That's how the government's moving right now. It sucks that all the stuff I talked about all had to do with Trump. Isn't it? And I guess that stupid Austin guy. That is kind of crazy that he called his constituents R-worded. But at least he's the libertarian candidate and has no motion. And, no chance in the election. The Libertarian Party is such a cancer. They're like the old school Republicans now. They're still shitty. They're just not as popular as MAGA are. All right. If you want to support this podcast, go to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. If you want to listen to us on other platforms, you can. We're on your Samsung smart fridge and whatever Amazon Echo device you have, and if it has access to Amazon Music, and we have this show on Apple Podcasts. You get the point. I want to plug this more. It's up to you guys. It's always up to you guys. But you want to go and be nice. Oh, I can spin this wheel. Ooh, wow. Up to 35% off. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's so cool. I'm being offered this special offer. Okay. Website, come on. All right. You can go to our TeePublic page and you can buy some merch. I have indeed worn our merch before on camera. It's decent quality. I like it. I don't think I have any like readily available for me to just grab. I have a magnet from our page, but go to our page, buy some merch if you want, support the podcast. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see y'all next week.